So I'm watching these videos
Yeah.
of like Occupy Wall Street. And I'm trying to, discern whether this movement, had its bearings or not. And there's this interesting video, and this lady is just talking to these people who are like drumming shirtless in the park, and
'Cause they're all hippies, yeah.
right. And I love how
There were some weird ones for sure, though.
and I don't think I think they're a disservice to legitimate progressivism. I don't think they're harmful though. Regardless, they're asked, "Hey, why don't you go stand outside Bloomberg's house?" It's Occupy Wall Street. This is about the 1%. And like Bloomberg, is a gazillionaire. Like he is stupid
About 10
rich.
times over, yeah.
Right, he's stupid
It's
rich.
like retarded rich.
And so she asked, why aren't you guys, protesting in front of his house? And so they respond to her with, "Oh, no. Bloomberg's a good guy. He let us be here. He let us stay in the park."
He let you stay in a public space?
Yeah.
And protest?
Yeah.
As is your God-given American right?
I mean, I'm just like, dude, you're in a public park.
That's some Stockholm
Anyone
type
could
shit,
be here.
dude.
It's not his
Wow.
personal estate.
Yeah.
Welcome to Libtards and Shy. Here, we discuss liberalism and what's stopping its progress, all while drinking way too much Arabic tea, which is called Shy. So, come on in. I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't know if you'll agree with me or not, but I think America has lost any sense of class consciousness.
As in,
Like
we're not aware?
like
Or
people
like
don't
self-awareness or external awareness?
people don't identify anymore with their class. They'll identify with their race or their ethnicity or their sexuality or their
there's
gender.
more prominent demographics that people fuck with.
But they don't identify with the fact that they're working class. I mean, we don't even use the term working class anymore. It's almost like it's a declasse term. I mean, we would say we're...
You think poor people when you hear the term. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if you... I would say,
First of all, by the way, I mean, just to put this out there, there is no middle class in America. Like, the middle class is gone. There is literally just poor people,
right.
very high income earners, which make up about 10% of the population, and then super extremely rich people. That's it. There's just haves and have-nots. There is really no middle class. And the funniest thing...
Not anymore. No, it got eroded.
No, it completely got eroded. But my favorite part is how...
That's our whole fuck Reagan thing. That's where that comes from.
It was like a poll by NBC found that 95% of millionaires identify as middle class.
We can kill them.
The whole country identifies as middle class.
We can kill them. Did we get their names?
The 1,000 of them, yeah, probably.
Yeah, no. Let's kill. I mean, we're recording and we're gonna like publish this to the thing, so I don't want to incriminate myself. But I would like to murder them.
How would we do this?
Would
we do like the
like death by stones is a good one.
death by stones.
Repeatedly just stomp on your testicles until.
It's very like biblical of you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was who was it? Abraham.
Abraham was the testicle.
Yeah, he stomped on his son's testicles repeatedly, and God was like, "Good shit, bro."
Good, nice. Yeah. I thought the story was
and
that
that's where Jews come from. No.
What is wrong with you?
A lot.
I
You
mean,
threw
no.
me for a world. Millionaires identify as middle class. What the fuck?
But also
That's
poor people.
disgusting.
But poor people identify as middle class.
Well, poor
Everyone
people are
identifies
stupid.
as middle class, and this is one of the big problems: is that America has lost what Europe currently has,
Yeah.
which is that people who work in factories or people
I
who
want to clarify
are,
that. By the way. I don't mean poor people are inherently stupid. I mean poor people are deprived of education, therefore they are stupid.
right.
It's not. It's
And
not
also,
an inherent
education
thing.
is not
It's just like
education is not intelligence.
There, buddy.
Education
No.
isn't intelligence. Education is knowledge. Right. You can be the smartest person in the world, but if you're hidden from certain information, you can't make the right decision. If you
Right,
are
yeah.
a general and a strategist, you could have gone to years and years and years of school and you can be brilliant, but if you're missing certain key points of knowledge about the battlefield, then you're going to make the wrong decision.
So if we're no longer identifying with class and we're mostly identifying with other demographics, race probably being a big one. I'd say sexual identity is another one.
I don't think this is a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing that we have race in the forefront, that people identify with race. I identify.
No, but don't you think just saying I identify as fill in race there, that comes with a class thing? So if you say, oh, that's some white shit you just did, dude, that is inherently a term of privilege.
Sure. I mean, I would say that multiculturalism is a present to the Republican political machine, because in the past 40 years, they have eroded the word working class, which used to be something of pride. The average Joe was something of pride, that I'm a person who I make a living. I work for a living, and
like 95% of people do.
Like 95% of people do, right? And I think multiculturalism, which is not only a good idea, but it is a essential idea to having a functional democracy in America. That idea was weaponized by the Republican Party. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to criticize on multiculturalism.
No.
It is essential for the progress of America. It's essential.
Yeah. Well, no, you're right, because it prevents extremes from coming to the forefront. This is where pluralism comes from.
And so
one of the most effective avenues for delivering pluralism is through different cultures and different perspectives.
But what I really mean by multiculturalism is it is to really quote, William F. Buckley out of complete context, because I know that's not what he means it, and he was meaning this facetiously when he was debating James Baldwin, but he was saying the only thing that he uses the word Negro, but the only thing the black man wants is power. The only thing that the black man wants that the white man has is power. That's the quote. And multiculturalism really was about giving representation to the portions of the population that have been deprived of political power. That is what really it is. And so when I talk about the erosion of class consciousness, one of the major forces that got rid of it was the weaponization of multiculturalism, is that the Republican Party used the fear that the white, straight man is no longer the most dominant, unquestionable force in American society, that was used as a threat to basically kill labor rights.
They're coming.
Right.
They're going to move into your neighborhood. They're going to fuck your women.
And I don't know
with
about
their
you.
big dicks. Yeah.
I don't know about you, and this where we may have a disagreement, but the main driving force behind it is racism. I do not think it's a coincidence.
I don't disagree with that.
I don't think it's a coincidence that the beginning of the decline of the American labor movement coincides with the signing of the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. I don't think that the crushing of unions.
No, but liberal waves come in liberal waves. So like when one issue gets brought to the forefront, and you're seeing this now recently, like Black Lives Matter has within the last 10 years popped the fuck off. And recently, within the last 5 years, I'd say, labor movements have started to pop the fuck off as well. You see like people like Starbucks and then the railroad workers. So they kind of come in waves, because liberal ideologies at its core are a package deal.
Right. They're an intersectional solution to
major
societal
systemic problems,
right.
Mainly identifying wealth inequality, which is a huge thing that has been.
What we really are seeing is that Americans no longer use the term working class, and this seems petty. This seems to me that something that someone would say to me, Mansoor, you're being very petty about this word. What is so special about it? Well, for starters, I mean, using the term working class, the word work is in it. Yeah. That breeds a consciousness that the people in charge of the factory or of the building are not your friends. They're not your buddies.
Well, they're also not working, like you said.
They also don't work like you.
No.
No.
Not like you.
They don't work. They don't work.
They don't work.
They own. They own the building.
They're the douchebag on the island with like the bag of like pineapples. And they're like, hey, do you want a pineapple? Suck my dick. If you want to, because I own all the pineapples,
right?
And you need pineapples,
and so we'll charge you a service fee for
pineapples,
for the blowjob.
And then we're told like it's a good thing. I was like, well, he's got all the pineapples, so at least his cum tastes good. I'd be like, no, bitch, just share the pineapples.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not even like, how about don't take them to begin with?
Yeah.
Right. It's I don't need billionaires to give back their money. How about don't take to begin with? How about you pay your damn taxes? Yeah. And then the people will spend the people's money how the people want.
Charity isn't required in a society that functions.
I don't want a Bruce Wayne I don't want a billionaire figure to turn into a vigilante and fight off crime.
kinda
I don't
do.
want to live
Wait.
in a Gotham. I want to live in a world in which a Bruce Wayne figure, a Batman figure, is unnecessary.
I agree with you, like morally, but also, would it not be fucking hilarious to see Jeff Bezos like go into the Bronx and try and stop a mugging or
Bro,
some
by
shit
the way, that guy's on
and
like
get his ass beat?
I know, but I don't know if you've seen him. Like that guy's on some like
he's on some like
testosterone replacement.
TRT, peptides,
guy's ripped.
roids. Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
But it's aesthetic. He can't function.
No, he can't
No.
function.
He's breaking his nice fountain pens at the office.
Yeah.
But he's still gonna get his ass whooped.
But I mean, this use, I am clearly citing one of the main reasons why we have eroded labor rights and we have diminished the idea of solidarity between workers of all races is the Republican Party has weaponized multiculturalism. It is plain and simple. And this Congress, which let me tell you, is a criminal enterprise.
And it's effective, as you said, because of racism. I don't disagree with you in
I mean,
that.
just look at Trump. Look at
On
Trump's
surface value, at
rallies,
least, I
which, by
think.
the way, are Klan rallies. All right, you go back to footage in the 50s and you look at Klan rallies; they look exactly the same. These
They
people,
look like fascist riots from the 30s. Yeah.
right? These people who are, as James Baldwin describes them, the heedless, unrelenting, cruel white majority. Right?
Anytime a group of white people gets together, more than I'd say 15, and John Mayer isn't playing, it's usually a red flag.
Right. And
Yeah.
and you know
Ed
what?
Sheeran, maybe.
Oh. No. Here's what you want to make sure you want to have. You need to have a song that is actually a socialist song, but then have one line like Born in the USA,
Oh,
and then
okay.
cherry pick that one song,
So, like-
even without the consent of the artist.
So just like Bella Ciao, but with a pickup truck somewhere in the middle.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though it's about some like rice farmers revolting, you know.
Una matina in mi carro. No,
Mi caro. Bro, come on. You've done 5 years of Spanish.
it's Italian. It's an Italian song. It's not a Spanish song. Bella Ciao is an Italian song.
No, it is Italian. You're right.
It's an
I
Italian.
literally just said it was Italian farce
Anti-fascist
farmers.
songs,
Why
yeah.
did I use Spanish? But I mean, there is these rallies, these people who are there are actually poor. There's a huge
Yeah.
swath of American white people who are poor now, especially in the
suck-
Appalachia region,
and they're coming to suck pineapple dick.
and they love Trump. And why do they love Trump?
got the
He says,
pineapples.
let's make America great again.
Mm-hmm.
And polling has shown that that means the 50s. It's not the socialism
Yeah,
of the
no,
50s
that's-
that they want to harken back to. It's not the socialism of the 50s. It's the racism
No, it's the
of the
segregation
50s.
of the 50s.
It's the segregation of it. And so there is this absolute loathing, this delight
Mm-hmm.
that this American president, or this candidate at the time, is allowing them to exhibit and present their most racist and most core ideas and be able to finally present it publicly again.
But is
because
it-
really what
is it
multiculturalism
conscious?
has done in America is it has made racism declasse. These people now are in the closet. And he's brought it out.
Okay. Is it conscious though?
1,000%. And I'll tell you why.
I don't know if I agree with you on that. Okay.
Here,
Go ahead.
Well, I'll make a point for it. The ads don't say, let's hate black people or whatever. It's not implicit. All right. It's not explicit. It's not explicit. It's
explicit,
implicit, right? It's not explicit. It's implicit. It says something like, make America great again. So that requires the listener.
Mhm.
They're not being told to be racist. They are putting their racism into the message.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
They're
that
putting
there's-
their morality into the message. It's almost like it's religion.
I'm not disagreeing with you that there's inherent racism within the base of Trump, because if you're going with a school of thought, there's inherent racism with anyone that's been raised in America. Like it's just a matter of fact. Like
But degrees
you're a
degrees
liberal-
matter. It's not like they just want to make Chinese jokes. It's
You're a
that they would
liberal ass-
rather burn the house down if it won't be all white. It's that.
But that's not the explicit reason that they think it is.
Well, you at some point, God, I've been just quoting James Baldwin, and I swear to God, this is not intentional.
Dude's got some bars.
Dude, this dude's got some bars. I'm paraphrasing him
Yeah.
here, but he says at some point, he says he's on a TV show, and he's saying, and the person keeps talking about, the guy keeps citing the mission statements of these departments, of these government organizations.
Right, yeah.
And at some point he says, I no longer can trust the intentions of your institutions. I must judge you by the actions of your institutions. And here are the actions, all right? Trump's tax plan has impoverished the American working class, including white people. And they're thrilled about it. They are poor. The tariffs hurt Republican farmers
But they
more than
don't-
anyone.
that's what-
and
that's
they
what-
love him for it.
Okay, but this is where I say it's not conscious. They're not aware that that tax plan is the reason they impoverished them. Trump impoverished them and then said, "Oh, you're getting worse because of COVID. You're getting worse because of these liberal cucks and Biden and all this shit. And you should do this X, Y, and Z, this, that, and the third. It's not. That's where I think they're using racism as a scapegoat.
Okay, there's no doubt, but there needs to be a recognition that these people. We can't just say that people who supported Trump, people who support DeSantis, people who are right wing, or they're all stupid. They're all just brainwashed. There is a collective responsibility. You know. When I say multiculturalism comes as a great present, again, I'm not trying to criticize multiculturalism. I'm trying to say that the billionaire elite in this country who own the media have created moral and racial panic and have used multiculturalism, one, in its name as a device to divide people, but also has used racial fears that white people are no longer the top of the power structure in every aspect of society. They don't like that fucking white cops can't kill black people with impunity. They don't like that. They try to dispute George Floyd. They try to dispute Eric Gardner. They try to dispute Trayvon Martin. They're humongous believers in stand your ground laws.
But
that is explicitly the right to kill people of color.
But that's again born out of ignorance and brainwashing. Because like if we're just
I think ignorance is a sin.
No, but like to stick with the example of police brutality, that hurts white people too. Like white people get beat up by cops just as much. Hold on. They're at a not at a similar rate, not nearly at a similar rate. I know you're saying. There's more white people, so they get hit as they get. There's a greater number of it, yes.
Right, but
so you can't say it doesn't affect them because it does. Because if we're going back to the inception of police,
I'm not believing, but I'm not talking about Max. I'm not talking about practicality. The Trump tax plan, Trump's doctrines have destroyed white lives.
Yeah,
it has impoverished them. But they love him anyways. They fought
because they
attempted a coup to keep him in power.
But they don't know what the laws are doing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, what they love about him.
Yeah.
The thing that they love about him is that they love
his personality. They love his vibe.
No. Yeah. They love
the dumb shit.
They love that they now have the green light to exhibit and like present their most racist behavior in public again, which is what they used to be able to do in the good old days when, quote, America used to be great.
I think that's a byproduct. I don't think that's a motivating factor.
I mean, this is multicultural, the whole concept of weaponizing multiculturalism, that's one component.
I agree with you 100% on that.
There's other major reasons why we've lost a sense of class consciousness. And a lot of it is top down, right?
Most of it's top down.
No,
when the wealth's being stolen from top and removed
almost
from down, it's all top down.
And it's also a few billionaire families that own media companies that are pushing this narrative.
There's only two media companies when you get to it.
Really? Yeah.
It's Warner and Comcast? Time Warner and Comcast are the big ones.
I'm not sure what they are.
I'm forgetting the names, but it's literally only like two media companies, and they split the country in half. Like and you get this coast, I get this coast.
You know, there's the reason that saying that we're working class is important is because if we called ourselves working class, not only would we know that the bosses aren't our friends, we'd also know when there's no more work. We'd also know immediately, like in the 70s, when our work is being shipped off, instead of 30 years later, that the middle is gone, that there's no middle. You know, there's also, we can call it gaslighting or the con, or what I like to call, it is a willful imposition of ignorance, in which, again, you and I are agreeing that, you know, the media has eroded class consciousness. I'm a firm believer that the individual, which conservatives praise and love and worship, the concept of the individual, that individual is responsible for the erosion of these class consciousness. And it has come in the name of...
That they're letting us?
Yes, that we let them get away with it. I think that we have a responsibility to that.
You're being a little harsher than I would.
Maybe.
Because you're essentially...
And that's because I'm judgmental.
100%. You're so fucking judgmental. Oh, okay. That's going to lead to a huge tangent. But anyways.
By the way, this is why I would be a wonderful Supreme Court justice.
You would be a wonderful Supreme Court
justice.
Because
I would be very judgmental.
Dick.
Yeah. I'd be very judgmental.
Because you're a fucking asshole.
And like two of the people on there, I'm more qualified than them because I haven't raped anybody.
Yeah. No, that's actually... But to be fair, there's no qualification for the Supreme Courts. It doesn't say anywhere that you can't rape somebody to be a Supreme Court.
Yeah, it just says that you need to be picked by the president, who is a rapist, and then be confirmed by the Senate, some of whom... Probably.
And if the microwave tangerine picked a rapist, then we get a rapist. It's fine.
And then abortion's gone.
And then Tobin and Squeeb and whatever the fuck he was doing. Okay, but...
I mean, white poor people...
To backtrack.
White poor people should want to be in unions. It is astonishing to me.
Yeah.
It is deranged how
Well, they've been
so many people, the loathing in this country against unions by people who desperately
would benefit from
need one.
oh my
Desperately
God.
need one. I was in New York, and I was having this it was not an argument. It was a disagreement
Yeah.
with a doorman. I don't know if you know this, but in New York, the doormen are unionized.
Fuck you.
What, the doormen are unionized?
Yeah, fuck you for telling me that. God damn.
That's good. That's a good thing.
I'm gonna be so goddamn mad for the rest of the night, bro.
Oh, that you're not in a union.
My drive home is gonna be infuriating.
Yeah.
This is so fucking
Well, see, we should have
infuriating.
solidarity
You know how
with
many
that.
doors I open for free
Okay.
every fucking day?
No. Doormen don't just open doors.
What else? Okay.
Okay. I mean, like.
Sure. Okay.
No.
Whatever.
So in New York, people live in buildings, not
Whatever.
just in a single home.
I'm
And so
aware.
they're
Yeah,
they're the people who are basically security for who comes in and out of the building. That's the security. So they're paid to stay up open all night and watch the door.
So the security guard. So just basically, it's the security guard that has to open the door.
It's a security guard who also opens the door, who is also the concierge of the building that is owned by the condo board.
Concierge.
The person who tells, like,
So that's like the hotel bitch, right?
that's the hotel people. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I said bitch right there.
That was pretty
That was a
sexist.
hard bitch.
That was a hard bitch. That was like, that bitch rejected me.
That was my father. That's not me, guys.
That's some generational trauma right there.
Low key, it might be. I used to get hit for not opening doors for my mom.
Oh, that's
like
why.
like when I would walk through a door
You know
and
what you
like
needed?
I would just like let her follow me.
You
She'd be
needed-
like,
you
she'd be, against my mother.
She was the bourgeoisie.
Yeah.
The union against her.
Yeah, me and my brother should have united.
Oh my god. I mean,
We can get this bitch.
I mean, like, but I'm having this disagreement with this guy, and he's telling me that, oh, I'm not going to vote for Biden because I don't like him. Well, you don't have to like him. He
Yeah,
says,
no
he
one
said-
likes
he-
Biden.
He said, no, but he's like, oh, I don't like the guy. And I was like, I'm just like, you don't have to like him. He's not going to call you in the morning.
Yeah.
He's not gonna like, he's not gonna call you in the morning. You know, he's not gonna make a sandwich, leave it on the counter, and be like, hey sweetie, did you like that? You don't have to like these guys. They're not your
Oh,
friends.
that's so funny.
They're not your friends.
He's not gonna call you in the
You
morning.
know? And I'm just telling him, you can't vote for Trump. You're in a union. And he says, what difference does it make? And
But again, that's ignorance. That's
no,
not
but I was just shocked that he doesn't know what difference it makes.
because we're not allowed to, or we're incentivized not to,
Right.
or we're force fed things that like prevent us from learning things.
Like the only reason,
because this is like a 17-prong attack, dude. When you like
I mean-
defund education and like
I want to say this
literacy
guy's a
rates
kid,
plummet.
but he's like 28. You know, I mean, he's a young guy.
Oh, fuck him.
You know, but it's just
getting mad again.
It's just like, to me, the guy has a good job. He didn't go to college. You know, and this guy's voting for Trump.
Yeah.
And you know that there is a race component to it, but there's also the fact that
Oh, I didn't even ask.
right.
I'm assuming this guy's white.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
And it's just baffling to me how this guy is voting for a party that not only wants to weaken unions, it wants to abolish them.
Yeah.
It wants to make them illegal.
They think it's bad for workers.
Like,
Actually, no. They know what it is.
They know what it is,
but
they're trying to convince us that it's bad for
telling.
workers. Right. So, I mean, you have this. You have the media convincing people to basically hate labor, like to hate things that are beneficial. It's a willful. I mean, I think it's a willful imposition. You don't, but it is ignorance.
I don't think it's willful.
And it is a full, media onslaught convincing
Yes,
people who
absolutely.
are absolutely impoverished to hate the institutions that are supposed to help
100%.
them.
I just think our main difference is like what level of personal responsibility to borrow from right wingers.
There's also
are we
something.
held
There's
responsible?
also something that we as liberals firmly believe in, which is that society is impacted by culture, and that culture is separate from the society. Right? Culture is made by artists. Culture is made by the cultural elite.
They believe culture is separate from society,
I think
or it was
culture is
born
separate from
out of society.
I think that
Because I would consider societies have
I think
cultures.
culture will drive society, and I'll give you an example. It
I
was
have no doubt that culture can drive society.
it is
but I don't
it
think
is
it's
a
separate from.
minute intellectual. It was minute intellectual, cultural figures who pushed the country into supporting abolition, into supporting civil rights, into supporting the labor movement.
Right. Okay.
And so, as scarcity has come about in the United States with the eradication of the dignified working class,
And with it, the middle class, yeah.
which was what we in America call the middle class.
Yeah.
Right. Which I don't like to use that term. I like to use there's working class, a doctor who makes a salary
Mm-hmm.
of $300,000 a year, and somebody who makes $15 an hour. They're both working class. The only difference is one is
No, you
dignified.
work for a wage.
Right. One is dignified and the other isn't.
Yeah. You work for a wage.
And by the way, no family practitioner makes $300,000 a year.
No.
And there is something really important, which is that as scarcity has gotten more and more intense, people are now not only more desperate for money, which is why we have the gig economy, which is why it's expected that teachers work 3 jobs, which is why, hey, you have a closet, rent it out. Oh, hey, you have a room, make it into an Airbnb. You have a car, Turo. Like everything is just gig economy.
10 quick side hustles to make you a livable wage.
Livable wage.
Yeah.
Like, why don't I just work 40 hours a week and then I get paid a living wage?
It's geographic too. Like I have friends in other states that'll get those same fucking ads, but the numbers are way lower.
Oh, no way.
So the ads they get is like, if for here it's been like make $2,000 in a week or whatever, which is like, that'd be great as like extra income. That'd be fucking phenomenal.
Sure.
And then
except I shouldn't have to work 80 hours a week to pay the rent.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And
but in other states it's cheaper. It's like make 1,000 in a week.
But the culture has changed in the United States because of the scarcity. So you have the force of multiculturalism. You have the force of the media convincing Americans that
to fear the others,
to fear the other, to fear unionization, to fear solidarity among racial lines among workers. But there's also now been a complete shift in the culture. I mean, I am by no means young, but I am not 1,000 years old, and I can still open a history book and harken back to a time before the 1970s, where it was illegal for doctors and lawyers to advertise.
Why? That doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know why the Supreme Court ruled this way, but I will tell you that in the amicus briefs, it was doctors' organizations and lawyer organizations that wanted this. They wanted to commodify and commercialize, and obviously not all of them.
Lawyers didn't want to advertise?
Before
Jacoby, Jacob, and Myers didn't want to advertise.
Before that case, it was considered illegal for lawyers and doctors to advertise or to own stock in the companies they represented, because
lawyers still can't own stock in the companies they represent.
I don't know about that.
That's a conflict of interest.
But I know doctors can own stock in pharmaceutical companies that they sell out. You know, here's what I'm trying to say. There has been a cultural shift in. There's been a cultural shift in two things. There's been a cultural shift in two things. There's been a cultural shift in that because of scarcity, money has become on the minds of everyone. This is something we talk about now. America used to consider talking about money to be gauche. It used to be considered déclassé. It used to be considered not
money, sex, religion, and politics.
Right.
Don't tell me how much money you make. Don't tell me who you stick your dick in. Don't tell me what bitch you pray to.
And now all we talk about is money, which, by the way, how interesting can that be? It's just math. You know, it is the most uninteresting thing ever. And I'm not that old.
Right.
Where I grew up, and maybe this is my immigrant background, being told that I was told to defer to many people. Anyone who was older than me. So when I was 7, that was everyone. You know, I was told to defer to members of the clergy of all religions. I was told to defer to teachers and doctors.
All religions.
Sure.
To
be respectful of these people. Right?
Okay.
I was told to defer to nurses and doctors and lawyers and teachers and firefighters and police officers. I was never told to show reverence to rich people. But this is what we have in America. We have a deep reverence for wealthy people. I mean, Kim Kardashian is literally famous now because she is rich.
We don't have royalty, so it's just whoever's the wealthiest.
Whoever's the wealthiest. I just hit my mic.
That's fine.
Whoever is the wealthiest. Like, we literally now see wealth as a morality. And so money has degraded and wiped out every competing value in the culture.
Do you think that's shifting at all?
What do you mean? What is shifting?
The money is a value. I agree with you that money has become a value.
Money has become the only value in the culture.
You think that's shifting back a little bit?
I mean, 30, 40 years ago, I would say that in America, don't get me wrong, there's always been a time in America that we respected wealth. But to say
there's never not been a time. There's never not been a time,
right? But to say that 30, 40 years ago, we can clearly look at how there was ways of earning status in America. You know, we would look at people like nurses and teachers, and we would say, no, these people did an important job, and they are better than just someone who just made money. They were better. They did important. I still have that sensibility. And I go to a hospital and I will look at nurses with reverence because they do something that is important.
As you should.
This is why we call them a profession and not businessmen,
There's
right?
a new term that we use in the last couple of years too. It's called essential workers.
And we also call citizens consumers
Yeah.
instead of citizens. There needs to be a return of other competing values to money. We need to be able to say that, hey, there are some things that are not just different than money, but better than money. Better than money. That's gone.
Pussy?
Maybe.
Oh.
No, seriously, maybe. That could be something. But also, how about like a calling? How about savantness? How about stoicism? How about
Okay.
there are competing values in America throughout history that are have been obliterated. And the media is now the only institution. There are no other institutions in America.
Media's new religion. Yeah.
And by the way, when I say money has taken over every competing value in the culture, I am talking including religious values. There is no religion in America. Every form of Christianity that we have that dominates the political sphere believes in prosperity gospel. Money, the Benjamin, is the real God in this country.
It always has been to some degree.
But I am not, again, don't get me wrong, I am not saying that the reason we've lost class consciousness is exclusively because money has become the competing value. And I'm not saying that there isn't
No, you're
a
saying
time,
it's a multitude of factors.
and I'm not saying that this is the
media's new religion, class multiculturalism as a weapon. And
but
then,
I'm also not saying that
erosion of the middle class creating scarcity.
there's never been a time in
scarcity
American
creating value,
history.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just finishing your third point.
I was never saying that there's a time in history where money has never been a factor, or that that now is a unique time. I'm saying that there are no other competing values, and that has a real impact when we no longer say that we're working class. When people who desperately need unions and labor rights, hate them. When we have a huge swath of American white poor who would rather burn the house down than live with black people in prosperity. We need to find new values in America. We need to have a new cultural thought process.
It's very easier said than done.
No, of course it is. And by the way, one of the reasons is that we have lost, like what makes you famous now is very different. And so we've lost real talented cultural figures. Now the people who are our cultural figures are just people who are viral.
Hotness and wealth.
Well, it's just viralness, right? It's youth and wealth usually. That's usually what cracks the code.
Hotness,
yeah.
Then
And so
you can be young and ugly.
yeah,
It's
you can be
fine.
young.
Yeah, we know some of them.
I'm a living example.
Yeah, we know some of them. Don't gonna lie, we know them.
But I mean, this is a serious problem, and it's led because of the scarcity and because money is the only value. It's now led to people identifying up. The average Joe is gone. Most people in society are average. That is what average means.
Statistically, you're not wrong. Okay.
And so the problem is that people identify up. You see a billionaire or a millionaire who owns a huge company and he lays off a bunch of his workers, and you say, oh, that's a shrewd decision. I would have done that if I was in his shoes.
That's because of the American dream.
You'll never be in his shoes.
No, but we think we will.
And that is the biggest lie. This is how we've convinced millions of poor people to hate the estate tax, something they will never pay in their whole lives, and that they call it a death tax. I mean, they think they're going to become billionaires. And this is the biggest lie. This is the biggest lie of the American dream. It's that, oh, if you work hard enough, we'll all be 1%ers. But that's not how it works. Because, it's the 1%.
99%, yeah.
It's the 1%. It's you're just,
yeah.
It's basic math.
Yeah.
Which apparently we can't afford to fund anymore.
No, but I mean, you're right in the sense that like everyone wants to be 1%er, but everyone wants to be in the 1%er because to be in the 99 fucking sucks right now.
But
you're saying in the 50s,
but that's
60s.
also the only way to gain status.
Yes.
It's also the only way to gain status. I mean, I've heard this before. I'm a school teacher, and people will say, very soft-heartedly, they'd say, oh wow, it's such an incredible thing that you do.
It's condescending as fuck.
It's because they know that it's
you're
a sacrifice.
Poor. Yeah,
they know that it's a martyrdom.
Yeah,
and so like, it's so
they're either villainized for being not good enough to do anything else, or they're looked at like these little angels that sacrifice.
And by the way, I mean the right has notoriously made public school teachers this ginormous boogeyman, and I cannot think of a more blameless group of people. And I'll tell you why they hate public school teachers. It's because they have unions. This is really, really what it comes down to.
Not strong enough. That's a separate issue, but like, yeah.
That's really what they hate about them. It is that they have unions. It is that they are able to protect themselves. And this is why they have done the stupidest thing in the world, which is charter schools. This is why billionaires who are right-wing love supporting charter schools.
Yeah.
You know, so they can pay teachers with 30 years of experience $20 an hour. They don't need any kind of licensing, and then they can run the school for profit. Again, this is what happens when money is the only competing value in the culture. People don't understand the difference between public and private anymore. You know, people, like companies, use language like they're poets. Like vision. Well, what company has vision? This is the language of poets. When Steve Jobs died, you know, people, you would think, I don't know, that like
he was a visionary.
Picasso died.
He was a visionary.
Yeah, he was a visionary. You know,
No, he yelled at nerds.
like
well,
companies.
and he looked damn good in a turtleneck. I will give him that.
Yeah, sure. Companies don't have visions. Companies exist for one single solitary reason, and it is to make a profit.
To suck profit out of every single facet of the world. Yeah.
Exactly. And so when you lose class consciousness, when you lose that you're a member of the working class,
It makes it easier for them to suck profit out of every facet of society.
Exactly.
Education, health.
exactly. And now when they've stolen all this
Food,
money,
media.
they're like, oh, we're going to give this back, which is, by the way, a giant tax dodge. It's not
Yeah.
real charity. We're going to give back to the school system. And I would say, please, just don't steal. Just pay your taxes.
Yeah.
And don't take the money. But people, you have this belief
Because they're
now,
not giving back what they should.
because
It's
when,
a fraction.
when people are afraid because of their racial status, that's one component. When people are told that unionizing and fighting for their rights is bad for them, and when people have now only one competing value in society, which is to make money. That is the only way that they can earn status. What happens is that we lose what it means to be private and public again. This is where you get people in America who believe that there's such a thing as clean billions. And I'll tell you why I believe this. It's because in America, we use the word earn before we use the word billion or billionaire or billions. You know?
He earned $1 billion.
He earned $1 billion. He earned his billions. This is like clean coal. This is like public-private partnership.
It's oxymoronic.
You know,
Yeah.
it is insane to me. You know, their business exists only to make a profit, and if you are running a business, then that's a great mission statement to have. But if you are running literally anything else, it is the worst idea possible. I mean, look at something like private prisons. You know, I mean, it's like,
They sound fun.
We have this horrible thing that we have to have.
Yeah, they're having a good time though.
We have to have it. It's obviously you have to have it, but it's this horrible thing that you have to add. And I don't know. Let's see what's a great idea. Let's add the profit incentive. Let's add the profit.
Yeah, let's
motive.
cut corners.
Right to this formula.
In the unconsensual housing of human beings.
Right. So I mean, this is let's put more. I don't want private money in the school. I want public money in the public schools. And this all comes back to class consciousness. I sound pity and I sound, frazzled because we don't use the right word. And sure, like it seems insignificant, but this matters. The culture informs society, and these words matter. The way we see ourselves matter. It's like what I said before. If we called ourselves working class, we would have realized decades earlier that there is no more work. Instead, we realized too late that there was no more middle. And that really is the crux of it. And by the way, just a little heads up to our listeners, you might want to start wishing or fighting for some other competing values in the culture instead of money, because
They're gonna
surprise,
take all that
surprise,
shit.
they've taken it all. There's no more money left.
There's not a lot left.
It's all gone. You know, it's all in the Cayman Islands. And so like, there needs to be a fundamental shift in how you see yourself. Whether you are white or black or gay or trans or Hispanic or an immigrant, you need to see yourself. If you work for a living, if you have a salary or a wage,
Through the lens of class first.
that is the thing that you need to see yourself first, is that you are a member of the working class. And it is okay to be average. I'm average. You're average. Almost everyone is average. You would be, the media is run on the idea that you need to interact with a genius every month. A new genius must appear every month. But in reality, you would be lucky to meet a single genius in your entire lifetime.
It's also statistically impossible for a new genius to pop up
Exactly.
every month.
Exactly. You know, so there we get to a point where we have to ask ourselves, do these words matter? And I make the case that it wholeheartedly does. You are not middle class. You are working class. I am working class. And there's either people who work that are dignified or not dignified. These two classes. And then if you own shit, you're a member of the capital class.
You work or you own capital. Yes.
You work
exactly.
or you own
just said it.
capital. And your work is either dignified or undignified.
Yeah.
And that's it. There is no other way. So this is the America we live in, where
Mhm.
money is God. The only way to prove yourself as a man or a woman,
Money is God, media is religion,
and you either
and we have to suck dick for pineapples.
you have to suck dick for pineapples, and don't forget that service fee. But really, when it comes down to it, that fucking service fee, man.
They provide you with a pillow when you have to get face fucked by Jeff Bezos.
Yes. But
That's service fee.
it is just it is a monumental task, and of course we have the whole issue with with climate change, and we have no water, and people are asking where the water went, and we ate all the water.
Yeah.
That's where it all went. It went into the
Yeah.
beef and the alfalfa and the almonds, and that's because we can't. We have all this stuff can be solved by just like.
The almonds are crazy, bro. I didn't realize.
What's crazy about a lot of this stuff
Make me
is
feel
that it comes
guilty
back
when
to
I want
money.
some nuts.
It comes back to money, right? And in America, there used to be two types of political power. There used to be political power and money, and now they're the same thing. Now they're the same thing,
One's an extension of the other.
right? But they're now
One's
they're literally the same people,
Let me rephrase that. One's an agent of the other.
right? Like there used to be two different groups of human beings. Now, literally, billionaires run for office.
There's still okay. Yeah.
Do,
no,
do you
yeah,
understand?
I see
Like
what you
Trump's cabinet was literally just billionaires. The people who ran the Treasury Department
Yeah.
were just Goldman Sachs people.
mean. The Department of Energy had
The people who ran the EPA were literally just gas people.
was
Like, this is-
Exxon Mobil exec. Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They are literally one and the same now.
Yeah.
And so
Secretary of Education, the
Betsy DeVos,
Betsy DeVos,
the former Secretary of Education.
charter school bitch, right?
Yeah, the charter school bitch. Like, hey, I run the Department of Education, and my job is to dismantle the Department,
Department
of
of
Education.
Education,
I
yeah.
just think it's crazy how people who are in government hate the government. That is ridiculous to me. And by the way, because we have lost class consciousness, we've also, and we worship the dollar, we've also lost sight of the fact that money in politics is inherently, by its very definition, corrupt. It is the definition of corruption. Before anything has been spent, just having money in politics is corruption.
Yeah.
And so we can remove money by laws. But the problem is the people who write the laws are bought.
Paid for it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're bought and paid for.
This is where we get into the wheel thing.
So we can divide ourselves into bigger and bigger classes. And don't get me wrong, there is importance in Black representation, Hispanic representation, gay representation, LGBT representation. That is important.
Mhm.
But we cannot lose sight. We cannot fight for the salad and lose sight of the meat. Okay? We have to see the whole damn picture. And for the majority,
meat is murder. No.
meat is murder. And for the rest of us, for the 95% of us, for the ones who work for a fucking living
Or didn't inherit your wealth.
or didn't inherit your wealth, you either can be dignified or undignified in your labor, but you're stuck with labor. And the choice on which one you want to be with, that's yours. And that's all the time we have. This has been Libtards and Shy with Max and Monsoor. Join us again next week for an all new episode, and please remember to like and subscribe on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Wherever you are and whenever you are, have a good morning, good evening, or good night. What?
Don't wait around till after the credits. There's nothing weird there.